Hi, Vanny from Clubs Craft, where we help sports coaches spend more time with their athletes. And today we are going to dive into the first step of the 6 steps needed to create a great annual training plan. I recorded this video already yesterday once, but my software crashed, so I have to redo it today again. But nevertheless, we are going to tackle the first point of a great training plan, and that's the goal. What is the goal? What is the destination that you are going to work towards for the next season to call the next season a success? That's something that coaches and athletes together have to sit down and talk through. It can be whatever the athlete and the coach think makes the most sense. It can be improving on a time on a certain race. It can be qualifying for a major event, participating in the world championships, whatever it is. You can set this as a goal. But one thing that we have to make a key distinction initially is to really know the difference between a goal and a dream or a wish, because goals are something that you can easily or that you can achieve realistically in the next season, while dreams are something that's still more up in the clouds, that maybe will take a few more years, if not tens of years, to achieve. So you really have to be careful to choose something that is realistically achievable in the next season. Otherwise, you will fall short, and then you will look at all the progress that you did in the past season as a failure. There are a bunch of different ways how you can define your goals. There are fancy acronyms like SMART, SMARTER, PURE, WHOOP, CLEAR, and there are probably a bunch more. But what we are going to focus on is 4 key principles that each goal needs to have in order to be a valid goal for you for the next season. The first thing you need to do is to make sure that your goal is measurable. Just like a businessman counts the money in the cash register at the end of the day and knows if they were hitting targets that they wanted to hit, and if the money in is enough to support paying expenses, paying staff, and having something on the side for the owner as well. Or like when you're building a house, the ultimate goal is to have a roof over your head and spend the first night there, and you always know if you've hit those or not. So same thing should apply to the goal for your next season, and it should be something that's quantifiable. So just saying, I want to get faster in a marathon, or I want to run better, it's something that you can achieve, but it's more subjective. While if you say, I want to finish my next marathon in under 3 hours, that's something that's measurable, that's something that's quantifiable, and you will know once you cross the finish line if you've achieved it or not. So make sure that once you get to your goal that you can clearly say, yes, I've achieved this, or no, I haven't. The other thing that you should aim for is that your goals should be under your control as much as possible. Saying I'm going to win the age group category on some kind of race might be something that's a valid goal, but most of the stuff won't be under your control. What competition is coming to the race? Are they really racing there, or are they using this particular race as a training race? So basically, you will not know if this is something that you can achieve or not until you start the race. And if, for example, the world champion comes to your race where you are participating, you are really going to have a hard time on winning the race or winning your age group. So as much as possible, make this goal something that you can control. Work to your strengths as much as possible. So if you, for example, like flat courses, choose a race that doesn't have a lot of hills. If you are more into technical stuff, choose those kind of races so that you give yourself the best chance of performing to your best at race day. The third principle is something that is a little bit uncomfortable, but your goal has to stretch you a little bit. So if you have already 5-10 years of long distance running experience, setting a goal for your current season to finish XYZ marathon might not be something that is going to stretch you if you are healthy throughout the season. But saying that you want to achieve a personal best on a race XYZ, that's something that is going to be something that's going to enable you to, or make you push yourself to working towards this goal. So keep it simple, but make sure that it is something that is going to necessitate you pushing harder for the next season. And the last thing that you really have to think about is to state those goals in the positive. So for example, if I tell you now not to think about your breathing, you're instantly going to be conscious of your inhales and exhales. Or for example, instead of saying on the next Ironman race, don't swim off course, you can maybe say, I'm going to go and find a few different landmarks that are going to help me navigate the course, so I will be better at navigation when the race day comes. So it's just a little mind game, but it really is important to focus on stuff that will bring you towards your goal instead of just focusing on stuff to avoid. So you always have to look for excelling as much as possible instead of avoiding making mistakes. And as much as possible, focus that your goals are race oriented, because you are signing up for a race and you clearly have a date set for your next race. So you are always going to have a deadline that you really have to adhere to. And this is another trigger point that's going to make sure that you be as consistent in your training as possible. And once you have your main goal ready and at the top of your annual training plan, it's advisable to have 1 or 2 more goals that will support you along the way. These are just there to be your guideposts at various stages of the season, so that you know that you are progressing at the rate that you are expecting and hoping to be ready for some of your races. Tomorrow we are going to talk about objectives that will support you. And again, you can read about all of this that we talked so far on our blog post. The link is in the description below, and I see you tomorrow if my computer doesn't crash. Bye bye.